Uncle Somasundaram. A lazy good for nothing. Always was and always will be. That is what my mother used to say about Uncle Somasundaram. But we don't talk about him anymore now. My father always tried to defend his brother. No, no, you don't understand him, he used to say. He doesn't have a lot of money, but he has enough. He is happy. Why should he work hard and run about like us city people? That is what my father used to say. But of course, we don't talk about Uncle Somsundaram anymore. My mother was right. Uncle Somsundaram was certainly lazy. But I liked him very much. Uncle SS, I called him. He was a large man, tall and fat. He had curly black hair and a big bushy moustache. He looked a little like someone from the Mahabharata. He owned some land with coconut trees on it outside a large village, and that is where he lived. We used to visit him sometimes at the weekend or in school holidays. He showed me all the interesting places near the village. Bullocks tilling the land, or a well was being dug. Uncle SS took me to watch. In the morning, we drank tender coconut milk. In the evening, Uncle SS chewed his betel nuts and we watched the stars. He taught me the signs of the zodiac in the night sky. He knew them all: Taurus the bull, Sagittarius the hunter, and the wonderful Scorpio. Sometimes we counted the shooting stars. They were lovely, lazy days in the countryside. I never saw Uncle SS do any work. He was always talking or chewing betel nuts or looking at the stars or all three together. His wife and an old woman servant took charge of the house. The coconuts seemed to take care of themselves. Uncle SS was a famous sleeper. He could fall asleep at any time and at any place. He slept in the day, he slept in the night. He slept in the bushes, he slept in the buses. He slept in chairs. He slept behind newspapers in rooms full of people. He slept before lunch, he slept after lunch. I think that was why my mother said that he was so lazy. But when he was awake, he was the cleverest man I have ever known. He was a wizard chess player. I could never beat him. Once, when it took a long time to make my move, Uncle SS fell asleep. I shook him hard to wake him up. Uncle SS, I shouted, it is your move. Uncle SS blinked and scratched the back of his head. Oh, chess. Ah. Then he moved a lazy hand across the board. Check. Checkmate. Then he went back to sleep. Of course, all this was in the days when we visited Uncle Sundaram, in the days before his accident. Shall I tell you what happened? It was last summer during the school holidays. It was so hot and dusty, the sky was almost grey. The air was heavy. Now and again, a slight breeze stirred the top of the coconut palms. I sat in a cane chair reading a book. My father was rustling his Sunday newspaper. My mother and auntie were busy in the kitchen. It was midday. I'm just going out for a walk, called Uncle S.S. cheerily. Anyone coming? A walk? I said. At midday? In this heat? Uncle S.S. was always full of mad ideas. This idea was just a bit too mad for me. All right then, said Uncle S.S. I'm just going down the road. I will be back in half an hour. He slipped a few betel nuts into one pocket and a chess book into the other. Then he shuffled out of the door. He opened up his large red and green striped umbrella and wandered heavily down the road. I watched the umbrella as it bobbed up and down along the dirt road. At last, it disappeared behind some trees. The main road was about 2 kilometers away. The little road to the village was made of mud. There was hardly ever any traffic on it. After 20 minutes or so, I noticed a bright yellow lorry coming from the village. It was empty and it was going very fast. It rattled down the road in a cloud of dust. Lunch is ready, Auntie called out a few minutes later. Where is Soma? Oh, he has just gone out, said my father. He will be back any moment now. But he did not come back. 10 minutes passed. Half an hour passed. We were getting hungry. Auntie was staring at the door. Mother was tapping her fingers on the table. That is just like him, said my mother. He disappears when lunch is ready and keeps us all waiting. An hour passed. Now we were all a bit worried. Where can he be? My father said. Something must have happened, said Auntie suddenly. I can feel it. I get these feelings sometimes. Something has happened. There has been an accident. I am sure of it. Oh, oh. Auntie started to cry. Nonsense, said father. What could happen here? It is such a peaceful place. But Auntie continued to cry. There has been an accident. I can feel it. Come on then, said father to me. We will go and look for him. Which way did he go? Did you see? We set off down the road. It was terribly hot. After a few minutes, We reached the spot where I had last seen Uncle's red and green umbrella. I looked down at the ground. I could see Uncle's huge footprints in the dust. I could see the tire marks of the yellow lorry. Suddenly, I felt cold. The lorry. The bright yellow lorry rushing along the road in a cloud of dust. Auntie felt sure there had been an accident. What is the matter? Said my father. I had stopped in the middle of the road and I was looking at the lorry's tire marks. There was a lorry, I said. Look, you can see its tire marks. Perhaps the driver did not see Uncle. He was driving very fast. Uncle was carrying his big umbrella, said my father. The driver must have seen that. But my father's face turned pale. We walked on quickly now. We turned a corner and there he was. He lay on his back in the middle of the road. His arms and legs were spread out. His red and green umbrella lay behind him. His mouth was red and there was red on the road around his head. We stood in silence, staring at him. The wind rustled in the tree above his head. A crow cocked its head on one side and caw-cawed. Everything else was silent. My father turned his face away. His shoulders shook. Just then, two people came along the road. They got down from a bus on the main road and they were going to the village. The man was walking in front. His wife was carrying a large sack on her head about 20 yards behind. The man saw Uncle SS first. He stopped under the tree and stared. Soon his wife joined us. She too stood and stared. We think a lorry hit him, I said. Soma Sundaram, isn't it? The man asked. Yes. She. See the blood, said his wife. We must tell the people in his house, said my father. Will you go and bring them? All right, said the man, and he walked off, looking over his shoulders. The woman stayed behind. The three of us sat in the shade of the tree and stared at Uncle SS. The shadow of the leaves danced on his face. The breeze played with his hair. Over our heads, the crow winked its eye and caw-cawed. Soon a bicycle came from the village. It was a man selling bread. He had a big metal box on the back of his bicycle. He stopped under the tree and stared. We think a lorry hit him, I said. Soma Sundaram, isn't it? Yes. Bah. He shook his head. We must tell the police, said my father. Will you cycle up to the police station? All right, said the man, and he cycled off, looking over his shoulder. We continued to sit in the shade of the tree. Above us, the leaves rustled and the crow cawed. All else was silent. I saw Uncle S's chess book on the ground beside him. I would never play chess with Uncle S again. Never again would he tell me the names of the stars. Tears came to my eyes. If only I had come with him, this would not have happened. We heard my aunt coming before we saw her. She was crying loudly. When she saw Uncle lying on the road, she tried to throw herself on him, but my mother held her firmly by the arm. Soma, Soma, Auntie wailed. More and more people were coming from the village now. The news had obviously spread quickly. They sat in a big circle around Uncle. The women on one side of the circle, the men on the other. Nearly 200 people had gathered. Nobody touched him. More and more crows came too. They sat above us, cocked their heads, and cawed to each other. The sun began to sink in the sky. No one noticed a bright yellow lorry turn off the main road. No one heard it grind along the dirt road towards the village. No one looked up when it stopped in a cloud of dust. The lorry driver put his head out of the window. He had a load of stones to deliver to the village. He was in a hurry to get home again before nightfall, but he could not pass the crowd of people sitting on the road. He looked to his left. He looked to his right. No, there was no room to pass. What could he do? The driver waited for a minute, but the crowd showed no sign of making way. Then he made a decision. He leaned on his horn. The noise blasted through the crowd of people. Everyone jumped. Some women screamed. Then a gasp went up from us all. The dead body had moved. Look, it moved again. Uncle's arm reached out to the side. His head turned. There were screams of terror. Children fled in panic. I gripped my father's arm. Auntie's mouth fell open in astonishment. Men jumped to their feet and backed away. The crows flew up into the air. Now, another arm moved. The mouth opened. Wide and yawned. A long, loud, red-mouthed yawn. Uncle S sat up. He looked around in amazement. 200 people stared back at him. He blinked and scratched the back of his head. Wow, what is this? He stammered. There was no answer. 200 people stood open-mouthed. Why are you all staring at me? Uncle S scratched his head again. With the back of his hand, he wiped the red betel juice from his lips. What is the matter? What is the matter? Shouted my mother. We thought you were dead. That is, what is the matter? Why? Why? Said Uncle SS in total amazement. Suddenly, everyone burst out laughing. Men slapped each other on the back. Women leaned on each other and wiped tears of laughter from their eyes. The crows caw-cawed louder than ever. The lorry driver could not understand what was happening. It must be a local festival, he thought. He leaned on the horn again and moved the lorry cautiously forward. The crowd began to disperse. Groups of people wandered slowly back to the village, still laughing. Uncle SS was still bewildered. I sat down in the shade of the tree to read my chess book and to chew some betel nuts, he said. I think I fell asleep for a minute. But where did all those people come from? Auntie burst into tears. My mother was lost for words. Come on, SS, said my father. Back to the house. Oh, yes, said Uncle SS. Is lunch ready? We left my uncle's house the next day and we have not been there since. My mother was very angry. Soma Sundaram, she cried, the whole village is laughing at us. I shall never set foot in this house again. A year has passed now. I miss Uncle Somasundaram a lot. I want to play chess with him again. I want to look at the stars with him again. Perhaps my mother will forgive him now. Perhaps she too will laugh now. After all, it was not really his fault. I shall ask my parents if we can visit Uncle SS again this weekend. Thanks for listening.